what bothered me was that was one tiny little thing within this broad context of this harassment campaign that had been going on and is still going on for 16 months at this point, right? And it was all designed as this sort of like dirty bomb of just this impossible trap, and designed to punish me, and designed as like this effort, it seemed to me, to control my life from the outside if I would not permit this person who I met when I was 19 years old from controlling it from the inside anymore.
Did you sense that this might be coming? Like, did you?
I mean, I guess I don't have the imagination for this type of thing. I just, I barely mention this person in the book, for context here or there, never by name. And it's a strange phenomenon where it's like, at best, I'm trying to think of how to describe it exactly. I could think of all different metaphors. It's like a suicide bomber's manifesto, or it feels like somebody is muddying the waters so that I will drown, right? But I guess it's just like, what it feels like mostly, and or the strangest part of it, is that it feels like a person who was at best sort of a peeping Tom in the last year of the time that I knew him, thinks that whatever he can see through a keyhole or hear like pressed up against a door, or whatever he might extract from the object of his obsession if he jumps out of the dark hallway and terrifies her, that those data points are enough for him to be the narrator of the events happening through the door inside the house. And that has been strange, and just this effort to write for me, to write over the book that I have written, with a version of events that is just, even when there's anything rooted in truth, contorted beyond recognition. And in some ways it's like a reporter's fallacy, where you think, like, I feel like I've seen this a lot, and I've probably been a party to it myself, where you obtain information somehow, and because you're attached to that thing that you obtain, that knowledge, you overestimate or misapply weight. You decide that matters so much because it's yours in some sense. And that's a lot of what this feels like. But I also it feels scary because I don't recognize like the life depicted. I didn't,
But aside from scary, I mean, do you have anger over it? Because you know that everyone's reading this, and he's kind of, it's like you spent a year writing this book that is not what the tabloids, it's not a tell-all, it's not it's not any of the things that the tabloids are defining it as, and it's almost like this person is giving that version. And writing over you. Is it?
I knew that when I like poked my head up from my isolation that I was going to be met by some madman charging at me with an axe, but I didn't anticipate that there would be so many people and so many institutions who might legitimize that violence, or might endeavor to help him hoist the axe, or that has been a surprise to me.
And you'd have to answer to.
But that's the thing. I kept thinking, why is the onus on me to disprove? But it feels a lot like that relationship, and it's been disorienting. I haven't reached anger, and I wonder if I will, because I do forgive him. But I do forgive him, and I understand. I still, even though I clearly don't know enough to anticipate his behavior and haven't for a long time. And that's been a source of my fear around it. I still like, I understand why it seems to me that he snapped and hasn't, snapped back. But I think it's very sad. And I think what keeps me from being angry is I'm just so grateful I didn't marry him.
Okay.
But I also just, it feels,
But you don't feel the need, like, I think this
I
is...
went away and I wrote this, I thought, and I did something wrong, right? Like I made a mistake, and it seemed important to me to deal with that and to take that really seriously and to spend time assessing, because it seems that you don't just wake up one day and you make a big mistake, right? There have to be other kind of miscalculations or
Did you
smaller
make a
errors.
conscious effort to think, I mean,
Yeah,
really
because I
examine
mean,
why you were making decisions?
I think, I wrote in the book about Icarus at one point, and I was asked about it recently, and the person was interpreting it as about classic the Icarus interpretation, that it was about circling too close to power, and I was explaining, like, no, what for me what it was about the kind of delusion about my own power, that I knew what to do and that I was correct and I had the right answer, and that I didn't have to kind of that I could let things slide maybe with myself, or I could not, and it was due to cowardice that I stayed when I knew I had to leave that relationship, right? Like, that's my mistake, and I don't blame anyone else for that, whatever other factors may have contributed to that.